All right. So, welcome everyone. My name is Jerry Yasir, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services. And I work for DXC Technology as an Office 365 architect here in the US. And today I have a special guest all the way from the other part of the world, Shakir Majeed Khan.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Yeah, so I am here in Australia. So over here it's around 8:20 in the morning, and yeah. So thank you for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure. We're talking to you. We have been like friends over like 13, 14 years now. Over Facebook and other social media platform, we have done like a couple of sessions together as well. So yeah, so all this one, yeah. So thank you for inviting me.
No problem. So, tell me about yourself. What do you do? What kind of work you do in your daily routine?
Yeah, so basically, I'm working as a senior consultant in SharePoint domain, in SharePoint and Office 65 domain, and yeah, so majority of my work is on SharePoint, and related to Power Automate, Power Apps, and custom development, SPFX, and taking care of environment of different clients. Some of the clients are still on-prem, so I used to take care of their environment, on-prem environment, and all the related stuff like any random stuff can be thrown at me, and then I could tackle it. Yeah.
So it means you are a one-man show. One
Yeah,
man army.
exactly,
It's
exactly. I
like,
need to.
but the way I
Yeah.
say it, yeah, that in the morning when I start, I have a script to update, and then I go, and then I see there is an app that I have to look and see if there are issues and then fix them, and then I have to go over to an SPFX web part that somebody's developing, and he's stuck on something, or deploy it to the production or set up the change, and by the end of the day, I'm creating an ARM template in Azure. So it's random. Anything can be thrown at us. That shows that you're an expert. So that's good. Good to know that. So, but I see that you have some special interest in Microsoft Flow.
Yeah, exactly. So, as I've been working more aggressively on SharePoint workflows, then moved to Nintex, and now Power Automate and Power Apps. So, I worked in Middle East for like 5 6 years,
All
and
right.
over there they are heavily using Nintex as
Mm-hmm.
a third party, as a quick way to develop workflows.
Yep.
So we usually work with clients. So if the client asks us for the estimate, like if you develop through the customized one, like through Visual Studio workflow, how much time it will take, and if we purchase any of this application like Nintex K2 or other applications, how much time we would save, and at like in the future, what would be it benefit? Like our can it be like our power user can create those workflows,
Mm-hmm.
the forms itself. So like there, the Nintex does really well in past 6 7 like 10 years, if you can say.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, from 2010 to 20 till day, like Nintex workflows, it's just brilliant. Like Nintex workflows and form. If you think about from the SharePoint perspective, they are very good.
Yep.
And now, as we are moving into on-prem to online, like most of already moved in, like like some of them who are still in the transition phase, they are asking about like, okay, do we need to spend that much amount of money on Nintex, or can we achieve all the stuff we are doing in the Nintex through Power Automate and Power Apps? So it's a very interesting things to present to the customer. Some of the customer, they have like the very complex workflows,
Mm-hmm.
like 20, 30 steps, stages of workflows,
Yep.
and they have broken down these workflows in multiple workflow index, because there is a limit to have like certain numbers of action in one workflow. So we need to divide those workflows in couple of workflows, and then call
Mm-hmm.
one workflow to another. There's kind of a
Sure. Absolutely.
tips and tricks to develop those workflow, right?
Yeah, I was
So
presenting something yesterday in
mhm,
SharePoint Saturday Philly or Microsoft
mhm,
365 Saturday, and I showed a workflow which was 10-page long, and
mhm,
that 10-page long workflow wouldn't fit on a slide. You have to scroll down at least 10
mhm,
pages and show the people that in the real world, People are developing those complex workflows, and upgrading them is actually a challenge. So,
Exactly.
but it looks like you have lots of experience with Nintex.
Yeah.
I can ask you this question because I really want to say it. So, if you compare Nintex workflow, which is
Mm.
expensive thing for any company, versus
Mm.
Flow, how do you think that is that like a fair comparison?
It's not a fair comparison till date. It's not a fair comparison. See,
Uh,
if you think from the SharePoint domain, just concentrate from the SharePoint world. Just
mm-hmm,
okay. So you have forms, you have rich forms, you have a rich workflows.
mm-hmm,
The forms contain like the detail from the other item and all those stuff. So still, Power Automate doesn't provide you those action like straight away. So you need to do lot of tips, some tricks to get to a position that you will get that to a point. But in
mm-hmm.
the Nintex, like from one action, you will get all those options straight away.
All right.
So yeah, so
Okay.
let's suppose take an example like if I want to have a send an approval to 5 users, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to do a kind of a polling thing like okay,
Yep.
majority wins,
Yep.
okay,
Yes.
or something wins. So this is kind of like the bit of a like I need to do some additional step in Power Automate
Yes.
to
Sure.
do this to do
Yeah.
this.
So let's if it's a very nice scenario. So let me answer you the way I think I'll do it. So
Mm,
developer thinking, I will add a loop from 1 to 5, and
yeah,
I will assign I'll say
yeah.
for each in the loop, let me assign an approval to the user, and then I need 5 users. But in the approval, I can have one approval. It could be side by side, but people can accept and reject, and then I have to see who approved and who reject, and I have to handle that in my outcomes, right?
Yeah, like you have in the Power Automate at the moment there are like two ones. So one is like there is one first one approved, so it will approve,
Yep.
and then it will say majority approved, so it will
Yes.
just say majority approved, right?
Yep.
So if it is kind of a polling, or if we want to check like if some two approve and three doesn't approve, so do something like if there is a specific scenario under the approval. So Nintex is quite good in this
All right.
scenario.
So sure, we'll
And
talk about it later, but for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So Nintex
For
is
now,
very, very.
we should focus on Microsoft because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't
That's right.
want
That's right.
anybody to
Yeah,
think that we are kind of selling
yeah.
tech
Nintex,
here.
Nintex. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
But
think that
Power Automate,
power.
yeah,
Yeah.
Power Automate is so fantastic. Like other
Yeah.
day, I have a discussion with my customer clients, and I was just showing them Power Automate, and then they said, "Yeah, we like they were power user. They are not developer."
Hmm.
So they were saying, "Yeah, we have a couple of guys who are developing Power Automate and Power Apps." So I was just, oh, okay. So
Sure.
they are after our jobs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think this is something that the concept of citizen developers, that comes in, that they say, hey, I will develop the flow for you, because I personally work on the team that build complex workflows. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about approval basic. We do complex things,
Yeah,
you know, product development, and then there's a process and approvals and different stages, updates, stuff like that. So, when I said that we will develop the flow for you, and then we'll add you as an owner so that you can make changes. And then they looked at me and said, really? You will actually do that? So how do you do it in the past? I said, oh, we used to have SharePoint Designer that you can install on your machine, but
yeah.
now Flow, you can actually edit it in the browser. He said, really?
Mm.
So I can go and edit a flow directly? I said, yes, you can go and change the logic on time. But again, great discussion. I think we'll have this discussion again. But one thing I
Mm.
want to ask you, you mentioned about the SharePoint workflows. So how did you take the news about retiring the SharePoint workflows?
So it just breaks my heart, Father,
Sure.
because we invested so much amount of time on SharePoint workflows, and SharePoint, like, see, as we are living in this era, so we need to go back into this one, like where the SharePoint workflows is quite new,
Yep.
and everyone was developing on the Visual Studio, which is like a pure technical and developer kind of stuff, yeah.
Yes.
So provide someone who as a tool and provide those actions which are quite basic, but they can do their work. They can
Yep.
do their stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
They don't want anything. They don't want any like kind of science fiction kind of thing. It's just kind of a basic like approval. That's it. Go from one stage to another. Go from one step to another. If someone is uploading a document, check the content tab and move to that particular library. That's it. Like let's take an example of that very simple scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I'm uploading a document. There are a couple of content type. Users select the content type, and based on that content type, I need to move the document to another document library. That's it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So in the SharePoint design, it's quite easy. Just five, three, four step, five step, and that's done. And I tell you very interesting thing. Like one of our clients, she is a lawyer, and we developed like very simple workflow. And based on that, she developed so complex workflow that even as a developer, as an outsider, we need to go into that and first understand what she is
Yeah.
doing. And
Yep.
it's totally workable solution. It was working fine and everything working so seamlessly that she has done everything by her own. She was asking a couple of questions, but the majority of the stuff like she has done it. So SharePoint designer does give a power user who are like very interested him or herself to develop those scenario, this kind of ability to do that rather than going into after the IT and then asking them to help. It can. So SharePoint designer, it does help like many users, many companies to be on a budget and to get their things sorted.
Sure. And I think that the way I see that, it's it's a good step. It's maybe a bad step, or I would say maybe a harsh step, but it's a good step overall.
Mm,
Because I have seen that SharePoint 2010 workflow performance has gone pretty bad, since people activated them in SharePoint Online and created 2010 style workflow. I
mm,
have seen it with like 5-step approval when the task is assigned and when the task is approved. I have seen in the people sharing me the screens and say, "Look, I approved this task, and it's been 3 minutes, and my task is still saying not
mm.
started." So that's one of the areas which I think it's a great step.
Yeah, actually, Microsoft is moving away with all those task kind of things as well. Yeah, so
Yes.
now they are going moving into planner, assigning the task into the planner, and then the
Mm-hmm.
task is not there. Like even if you see from the Power Automate perspective, like you won't see that much kind of supportability from the task perspective, like the creating the task and all those stuff. Creating a planner task is more of a new thing which is they are pushing in, and I think that's a good way to do that as well. Like no, SharePoint is nothing, just one of the application. That's it.
Sure. So in
Yeah.
terms of the planner and flow, last time I used it, I remember we can assign a task from a flow,
Mm.
but when the task completes, we didn't had anything to track, like when the task updates or when the
No, you can
planner
do that.
task
You,
changes.
you can do that. You can do that.
Now you can do it. So
Yeah, you
maybe
can do it.
maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah,
look at
yeah,
it.
yeah. So
Maybe
there's
we
a
should look.
trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your trigger, so you can check every time a task like change updates itself. So you can
Hmm.
just check it if it is completed. So yeah, so like we have done a very good kind of implementation in our company. So I just can give you a background that like there was a there's every in every company there's a support like a support email
Yeah.
kind of
Tickets. Yep.
yes, a tickets email
Yep.
kind of thing. And then so what we are doing that whenever a support tickets comes in, so we create a planner task, and then a planner task does have all the details. And when we finish with this ticket, so we just complete this ticket. And what it does that behind through the power, it's all through the Power Automate, right?
All right.
So whenever you complete this ticket, so through the planner, so what it does that it goes into your email and then move all those relevant email to the archive.
All
So
right.
it just sorted all those with emails to the archive, so that like you won't see all the cluttered emails in a one place. So
Oh
in
yes.
the inbox you will see only the active one. All the completed one will be moved automatically to the archive. So it's all been done through the Power Automate, which is quite brilliant. Like you
Yes, I see that because I sometimes I see that when I receive a ticket from ServiceNow, for
mm,
example,
mm,
the email contain all the tables and everything, and then people start replying to those email, and it
mm,
becomes almost impossible to track who did what. So, and then I don't have the history of that. Once those emails are gone, the thread is gone. I cannot go back and see exactly which task. So, who did what and what was the issue. So, yeah, I think we should probably have some time to actually develop it as well. Um, so, I think the next question that comes to my mind would be that how do you perceive that how should people upgrade those workflows that were built in 2010 timeframe? You know.
Yeah, so actually it was billion at that time. So now as we are moving into the new era, so yeah,
Hmm.
so Power Automate does give you everything within the shape. Like if you are comparing from SharePoint Designer workflow to the Power Automate, so you can easily convert those workflow to Power Automate. So it kind of I'm not sure like if there's a tool to convert those one to SharePoint workflows to Power Automate one, but from the Power Automate it's quite easy. It's so easy that's to get up to this place where the SharePoint Designer workflows are. Yeah, so
Hmm.
you can easily
Sure.
migrate those one. Yeah.
So let's have some fun facts. So if I name a SharePoint 2010 action is, and you tell me that there is an action available in Flow.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So what about send an email?
Yeah, it's so easy. Like there are like hundreds of action through of this Outlook Office 365 Outlook.
All right.
Send an email. Yeah, yeah,
All
it's
right.
yeah.
So one thing that Microsoft Flow cannot do is get user profile. Like, it cannot get my profile. How do you do it in Microsoft Flow?
Yeah, so Microsoft Flow. So there are numerous thing as well. You can call them API and the graph and even the graph as well.
Okay.
And then get the user detail, and then we have it has a couple of action as well. You can get the user detail as well, and
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. So even in the Power Apps as well, so you can get the current user detail as well, user
All right.
email, user name, user display name. So if you want to, let's suppose that in the Power App you want to show a table where only your submitted a document will show or item will
Mm-hmm.
show, whatever. Yeah. So you
Sure.
can sort this. You can sort with the current user. So the current user, if the current user email is this one, so show only those items which contain the current email created by as.
One area where I have struggled a lot in the past is the string manipulation. How, what are the options we have for string manipulation? Like,
String man, yeah. So in the string manipulation in the the funny part is in Power App that you cannot self-reference
oh,
a string.
yeah, you
Yeah,
self-reference yourself. Like you say,
yeah.
string
A,
str equal my name and then str equal something else.
a is equal to a plus b. You cannot do that.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you need to get a temporary one,
Uh-huh.
and then like the old trick, the old time trick. Just
All right.
calculate a temporary one, put everything into that one, and then made it, and then copy this thing into the original one. So do everything in the temporary one, and at the very last, just copy into the very first one, the original one. So
Okay.
there's the one, yeah. But for the other stuff, yeah, string manipulation is like the basic one is there. Substring is there as well in the Power Automate and other stuff as well. I haven't tried this regex one, but hopefully the regex would be there in the Power Automate. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I haven't tried that one. Yeah.
So is like is there like an action or you have to do something else like the formula thing?
Yeah, it's there in the expression as well. Like if you are setting up a variable, so there's a substring, a string,
Mm-hmm.
like these expression are there already
Yeah.
there. So
All
you
right.
get
And
those,
and
but from the regex perspective, I'm not sure like it is there or not.
but what if I have this crazy idea? It means I heard that you can call something like an Azure function from Flow.
Mm.
Can I do that? Like if I have a complex
Yeah,
string,
so
I want to
yeah,
manage it.
yeah, so some of the I've seen this one. Yeah, that's a very good point. So regex wasn't like one of the user what he's created. He created a custom kind of action within the Power Automate,
Mm-hmm.
and then what it does that in order to manipulate some of the strings, so he created those one through the functions and function app, and then added as a action over there. in the Power Automate. So what it does that it's provide you, like, let's suppose that you have a very specific scenario which can be do through the Power Automate. It can be happen
Mhm.
to any of the tool.
Sure.
So we used to do for everything, like for every tool. You can create have you can have your own custom action, and then you can add it into the Power Automate and then have it. Yeah.
One interesting thing about Power Automate is the connectors. So
Hmm.
there are free connectors and then there are paid connectors.
Paid one as well.
So
Yes.
how do you think about the licensing for Flow, your Power Apps? How do you think that complicates our discussion?
It does complicate our discussion. It does complicate, like, if you see, like, some companies already, the thing is that they are in a stage of settling themselves with the Power Automate. Okay, so
Hmm.
they were saying, okay, we are using the Power Automate, but if we are using any kind of like the premium service within the Office 365 or any third party connector as well, so we need to pay upfront, like pay some amount of money.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were saying why it is not being done by this tool. Yeah, so again, that's a old discussion we used to have, like with the other tool as well, like
Yes. True.
why we need to buy Docave, like why we need to buy DocuSign for the digital
Yes.
signature, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
old
Yes.
discussion. That's the old
Yep.
discussion.
Yep.
So then we need to convince that, okay, see, like, if I'm going to develop this thing in the Power Automate, that would consume that much amount of time. So if you can spare like that much amount of dollar, so you can get this thing over here, and then you can use it. But the good thing is that Microsoft, like, the Power Automate is so heavily developed, and Microsoft is pushing so many changes in the Power Automate, that some of the action which are being, created by some third party as a part kind of a connector, and whether the paid one, it's not the part of the Power Automate.
Sure.
So like
What? Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
some of the step, like the Plum Safe, if you see the Plum
Oh
Safe,
yeah.
some
Yeah.
of the
Sure.
Plum Safe, so it is already there in the Power Automate.
Yeah. Like I think permission management, right? That's one
Permission
of the.
management, yes,
Yeah.
cool,
I
yeah.
have seen it because I
Right.
think I was the first one to actually do it in an actual project for COVID-19
Mm,
tracking app
mm,
that we did, and
mm,
they were saying once you build the app, everything was built, the flow was built, and
mm,
flow had there were two flows in there. One when the item is created or the case is created, and then the flow is when the case was updated. So on the last day, somebody came and said, "Hey, we want to make sure that
mm,
when somebody logs a case, only him and the person who's reported reported that case should have access to the item." And
mm,
I was looking at myself, I said, "Let's create views," and I said, "Let's create, admin views and non-admin views." And use and hide those values, and then I said, let me just take a look at the flow and see if I can break the inheritance of the item and then
mm,
add and remove the people that I want to. Now, we did that, and now there are like 5,000 records in that list. And would you
mm,
believe that somebody actually came and said, hey, at that time, we never thought about adding a backup. I said, what do you mean? He said, oh, somebody went for vacation. Now someone
mm,
else came in and wants to update those cases. How would I have access to those cases? So I said, at that time, you should have told me so that
mm,
I can actually like put some either a backup user or a SharePoint group
mm,
in there so that you can
mm,
add like that group there so that you can get access. But now you'll have to actually go select all the records and break the permission, actually update the permissions. There is no other way. So we are
mm,
actually discussing about adding the same logic in the in the item in the flow update action as
mm,
well,
mm,
so that we make sure that every time an update happens, it checks the
mm,
permission. If
mm,
there is a change, add that user as well so that we can do it. But maybe
yeah.
another discussion. Sure.
So yeah, if you see, like, this of like during all this all the last decade, we are working on delegation as well, heavily
Oh
on the
yeah. Yep.
delegation. Yeah,
Exactly.
someone, like, just take an example of this. You have, as you have presented, someone went on leave.
Yep.
So what will happen? Like,
Yep.
who will delegate that task which is sitting to that person? Like,
Person. Yeah.
Yasir
Yep.
is away for Disney World.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, he's away like for 2 weeks, and he hasn't take his laptop. He
Mm-hmm.
just gone, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, for the task is pending to Yasir, and there's no one who can even go into that task and then delegate to other one. I'll just
Yes.
do this task, right? So all these scenario, which is there, like which as part as a power user, as a company, they think that it would be the part of the product. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but again, like we need to make sure, like, and it was there in the Nintex, and it was there in very easy for in the SharePoint, like the previous one as well. But in the Power Automate, we need to make sure that okay, they should be working as per their expectation.
Sure. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, let's go back to the main discussion, which is the retirement of the 2010 workflow.
Mm,
So, for anybody who's listening, the 2010 workflows will be disabled
mm.
on the new tenants on August 1st.
August first,
And
yeah.
yeah, and then on November 1st, they will be stopped on the existing tenants. So we have around 3.5 months probably,
Mm.
to actually go and update those. So a lot of work probably on the way.
So how about, yeah? So how about my question to you? So how about if some, like, there are the 2010 workflows and 2013 workflows
Yes.
within the SharePoint Designer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they like only retiring SharePoint 2010 workflow, or share all the workflow which been developed through SharePoint Designer?
So they are retiring the 2010 style workflows only. It means that
2010 style
2010
workflows only.
style workflow, it means that you can actually develop the 2010 style workflow. So they're
Mm,
blocking it. So there are out of the box workflows, which means
mm.
approval and collect signatures and three-stage workflow. Those are all 2010 workflows. They will be blocked.
Okay.
Plus, if there is any custom workflow that you have developed, because they're not blocking workflows, they're blocking the service.
Yep.
So it
Yeah.
means that once that service is gone, all
Mm,
of your 2010 workflows will
mm.
stop working on that point. You know.
And
So
and yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. So based on like SharePoint two, like there is those 2013 workflow which we create through the SharePoint Designer.
yep.
They use some of the SharePoint 2010 action as well.
If you do, so that means that, let's say if you do the 2010 actions, like call a 2010 workflow,
Mm,
then you will have to update. Very good point. I think I forgot to mention that. If you
mm,
have a 2013 workflow calling a 2010 workflow, then
mm.
you will have to go and find a solution for that.
Yeah. So
Very good point.
and
Maybe we should look at it. Maybe
and
we should do a session about it.
yeah. So anything. Yeah. Another. Any if anyone, like, is there any tool? I'm again. I'm just very.
There's
It's
no
a
tool.
like a very.
I tried it. You know
Now
what
I'm
I did?
getting.
Here's what I did. I can show you. I can tell you what I did. So just with open mind, I went to SharePoint Designer. I opened Share. You can't open two instances of SharePoint Designer on one PC.
Mm,
I mean, same site. You can open different
yeah. Yeah.
sites, but you
Yeah.
cannot open same site. So what I
Exactly.
did, I logged into two different machines, dragged it to my screen in remote desktop, opened two workflows, and I said 2010 workflow, select all, and
Mm,
then went to 2013 workflow, said paste, and I got an error message saying, sorry, this is not supported. So you can't paste a 2010 workflow
okay.
into 2013. They look
Mm,
absolutely the same. I just made
mm,
sure that my sample was exactly the same. Log to history list,
mm,
an if condition, and send email. And when I tried to paste it in 2013, it said, no, you can't do that.
mm,
You can only do it from 2013 to 2013.
mm.
So,
And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Like when you develop SharePoint workflows on SharePoint Online through
yep.
SharePoint Designer, yeah.
Hmm.
So it does only we can only create SharePoint 2013 style workflow or SharePoint 20 style workflow as well.
We can do both. We can,
We can
when
do
right
both as
now, we can actually choose drop down, which says 2013 and 2010,
in the SharePoint Online.
and SharePoint Online. Yes, you can. You can
Yeah.
choose
So
both.
within the SharePoint Online, I can create 2013 style workflows and 2010 style
Yeah,
workflows.
it's a drop down. So you choose which one you
Yes.
want to create. So if you choose, many users, if they don't notice and they do have access to SharePoint Designer, they will choose the wrong version, and then they have to worry. In my cases, we have run the modernization scanner for few customers and collected that information and sent it to the customer. One of the customer came back with around 1,700 workflows, and with 900 workflows 2010, and 700 of them will need it to be upgraded, and around 200 of them does show that they will not be upgraded, or there is a problem in those workflows. We
Mm,
haven't looked into deeper, So we're picking up some of the important ones. But yeah, anyway, but I think the you know let's I think this is my last question. I think you must be excited, right? All right, that 2010 workflows are going. We don't no longer need
Hmm.
SharePoint Designer. Everybody will be on Flow. It means Microsoft will invest more on Flow.
Yeah, Microsoft. Yeah, obviously, should have realized that okay, SharePoint designer kind of workflow. They are not the way to go ahead, right? With the evolution of all these new technology
Mm-hmm.
and moving out from the desktop based application. Now everyone is going to the browser based application, right?
So,
Through the browser, we are doing everything.
all right.
And then so Power Automate obviously it's a like a kind of a way to go now. And though like we love SharePoint Designer by our heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Would you believe
creating
I
those.
worked on it? I worked on the first version of the front page.
Mm,
I used to use front page, which used to crash every time you open it. And then, of
mm,
course, I used 2007 designer and 2010 designer
yeah,
and
like
2013 designer. So I
yeah,
came a long way.
it's not even SharePoint. It's not even like workflows. It's with the power page layout and master pages and
Hmm.
external content types and
Yeah,
everything.
I think those things
Which
will
comes in
probably go away now because with all the modern
yes,
stuff, we eventually
exactly.
see that left menu of SharePoint designer will be like,
Mm,
you know, view site site columns, and that's it.
that's it.
Or
Yeah,
maybe all files probably,
all
but there
good.
will be
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
in between. No
yeah,
master
yeah.
pages, no layouts, and nothing. So yeah, but we'll
Mm,
see exactly where it goes. But now a couple of items in the wish list. So one of the areas where I personally struggle, and I'm honest here, that I have never used collections in my flow.
mm.
Have you looked in those collections? What is the area? What is the I can understand. Maybe another day, can you give us
Yeah.
some, some
I've used
introduction
I
collection?
yeah I've used array as well. I've used array. I just if you count array as in collection, because array kind of a very
Is
basic stuff.
yeah,
But it's a part of collection, right?
yes.
You can just
Yeah,
fit in.
it's a what do you call it? Subclass, or it's a yeah,
Yeah,
collection. I
it's
consider collection as like collection of employees, where you
yeah.
have
So
employee
like
ID, employee name,
yeah, so
I
array as
something.
well. Yeah, so
Array
array
is
like yeah,
like,
yeah.
single
So
object
you
that
yeah, so you can put in for each, like if you can put it into the for each to fill those one, and then for each to traverse those one just to
yeah,
get
but
those values
maybe
as well.
I will probably invite you, as an expert to
Yeah,
actually tell us about
yeah,
how collections work and how maybe how arrays work. One of the
mm,
most common thing we do is I think I should mention it, the multi-value people picker column and grabbing
mm,
the email address from there.
mm,
It looks simple, but when you have to pick those values, you have to do a for each on on the get items, then for each on the on the item, and then for each on the actual column. It makes
exactly,
very hard to actually get. If you
exactly.
keep dragging, it makes it little complex. So maybe
Yeah,
we
again, yeah. So again, yeah. So the thing is that like as this is a kind of a new one, it's not a new one anymore. But as Power Automate is evolving, so all this scenario like it's very good that we cover, and we are aware that this thing being done by this way. Yeah,
sure.
like as a collection or whatever the corner scenario. So we know that okay, the Power Automate can do it. Yeah,
All
as an out of the box action or with available connectors even.
all right.
Right, those one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the last talk of the day. What is the big thing that happened in the Power Platform community in this week?
Yeah.
Would
So
you have to?
they are like people are doing crazy stuff like
Sure.
yeah, people are like if you go to Power Apps, I'll go to these Power Apps forums and Power Automate forums and those sites, and people are submitting so many application. There's a channel for the kids as well, Power App for kids, and the kids are
Wow.
developing games. And if you see, if you give them this tool to a kid like you are 9 year old kid, they can come up with a billion application.
Nice.
Billion
Yeah,
application. It's just
we should actually do the same. We should invite some. 9 years old, either from Australia or Pakistan,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see, what his thoughts are for Power
Yeah,
Apps.
just give him a tool, just yeah, play around. And because I have seen like so many people have developed like tic-tac-toes,
Hmm.
example of tic-tac-toe, and some different games on
Sure.
top of Power Apps. And then like there's a new addition to Power Apps. They have introduced Data Flex Pro,
Right.
so which is a like kind of a replacement. It's not a replacement as of now, CDS, a common data services, but again, it's kind of a new for me as well. But as per my what I have seen so far, so it would be a best thing. It would be a good thing because you can develop right from the teams, and then you can manage those application through the teams, and then invite your colleagues to
Hmm.
maintain and to respond on those ones. So it just give you a whole bunch of connectors and everything within this data flex, and which is would be a very good thing to have. Yeah, because now Microsoft is really focusing on to bring everything into the teams,
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
bring everything into the teams, like
Yeah. Maybe
one tool.
we should actually discuss it, and we should actually develop it. Once you maybe in a couple of weeks, we should connect again and show us what data flex is quickly,
Hmm.
and maybe show us an example of what you can do there. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, I think we will discuss it again.
Hmm.
So I
So how
sure, yeah.
about, yeah? So yeah, my question is that like how about you seeing Power Automate from the business perspective? Like, are they
Hmm.
really welcoming it? Or they are still figuring out that okay, is it good enough for us?
So with all that happening for COVID-19, there initially when I worked for the large customers that I work these days, there was focus again on third party tools, and there was focus to spend money on getting things done. But again, with most people working from home
Mm,
and less interaction with other companies, now the employers are focusing back to the citizen developer kind of thing. So businesses are pushing their employees to develop applications rather
mm,
than they go and buy a third party product.
mm.
um, like a couple of applications that I've built for two different customers actually is COVID-19 tracking and check-in, employee check-in to office.
Yep.
Both of the apps were kind of, hey, we want to make sure that when employee comes in, he tracks where he wants to sit, and everybody knows that he's coming, and we don't overbook the office. And then COVID-19 tracking with what's happening, somebody got sick or and that. So Power Apps and Power Platform, I think, are the buzzwords in the business community right now. Anybody who's on Office 365 is talking about it.
Yep.
With the SharePoint workflow retirement, it has a big impact. When I went back and showed the scanner report to my customers, they were completely astonished how many workflows are there and how many are being used by and updated
Mm,
by the users. So it's technically it's a good thing for us as a technical expert that we'll have something
mm,
to work on the next few months.
mm.
But overall, I see that this technology is going to evolve. It's not going to be
Exactly.
stalling like any other technology. It's going to evolve and
Yep.
get better over the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah, yeah, and it would be a more business user friendly.
Yes, it will be much better. I think that I saw that you can actually design Power Apps on a desktop app
Mm,
using a preview. So you can create a preview. You can create a preview tenant, and in there is a desktop app designer for Power Apps. And I have not tried it because it's a preview. I know that my customers
mm,
will not develop preview apps,
mm.
because of the way things work. But um, I think that's something that we need to explore one day. But I'll keep it short. Again, it's so early morning for you. I loved watching the cricket background, and I
Yeah,
assume this is either a
that's an
Sydney
MCG.
cricket
Yeah.
stadium or
No,
Melbourne.
that's an MCG.
Yes,
famous
MCG. Yes, yes, that's a
famous
famous one.
MCG. Yeah.
And don't you think that there is actually something on top of it now? Like
No,
the
basically they have two grounds in the MCG. One is
oh,
this one. Sorry, two grounds in Melbourne. One
mm-hmm,
this MCG. There is one another one which is Etihad Stadium. So it is a covered one. So
yep,
basically what happened that there in Australia we have like two seasons. So they convert this MCG to a footy or a Aussie style rugby
oh yeah,
stadium in
exactly, yeah,
winters.
yep,
So in summers they then move the cricket pitch in the ground,
mm-hmm,
and those summers is totally cricket. And by the way, summers is other way around from the US. So
okay,
over
yeah,
here right now we having winters over here. So
exactly,
the winter is footy or the Aussie style football, and in the winter, in the summer's time, it's totally cricket. So
all right,
all these ground, they switch it from Aussie style football to cricket based on the season. Yeah.
all right. So thank you very much for giving me. There was a time I used to watch and love cricket. I have lost the sense of it now. It's been, I think the only match I watch is the India Pakistan World Cup match, or it's like final or something. That's the
Yeah.
only match ever watched.
Mm,
But with that, I think really thank you very much for your time. It was great to talk to you, and
mm.
we'll definitely meet again and discuss more things.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you for taking time out, and it was a really wonderful talking with you. And it's been a very informative session for me as well. And yeah, and we discussed so much good stuff about Power Automate and Power Add, and hopefully we will touch base again on this technology and the new technology as well.
All right. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.